Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Marcus.
And I'm Kayla.
And we are the father-daughter portion of the Rembert Blount Property Group, your real estate team here in the Chicagoland market. And today we are going to review two of our favorite things, which is wine and real estate. So wine that we are going to review today is a Moscato. Right? So when we review the wines, how do we categorize them, Kayla?
If we would rent them or own them. So if we're renting it, it's a short-term thing. We had it, we tried it, didn't necessarily like it, and we're committing to it. And then if we own it, we buy it again and again and again, and we are all in for it.
All right, cool. So with that, we're gonna.
It's called Innocent Bystander, by the way.
Yeah.
And it's a sparkling rosé Moscato. Okay.
All right. So I am going to go hard rent on this. I tend to like kind of drier to kind of mid-level, if you will, on the palate wines. So this one is probably a little too sweet for me, from my palate. However, I could see someone enjoying this and maybe even having this with some cheese or something like on the saltier side to balance out the sweetness. So rent for me.
For me, I am going to own this. I think it, as far as Moscatos and Rosés, it's up there. It's very, very light. And like you said, it is a little sweet, but I get the fruity notes, and I think it's just great for, if, like, I imagine you're sitting outside on the patio, just hanging out. It'd be a great wine for that.
All right. So moving on to today's real estate topic, we're going to talk about home inspections. All right. So this is a topic that we feel very strongly about. We're coming out of a real estate market where some buyers had to, in order to get a competitive advantage, they had to waive their home inspection. And that was really, that's my first time in my nearly 10-year career where I've ever seen anything like that happen. So now we're getting into one of the benefits of getting into a market that's correcting or cooling off is that having to waive something like that is no longer necessary in like 99% of the cases. So what do you want people to know about home inspection, Kayla?
So, like my dad said, it was in the market we were in before, it was, I wouldn't say, how many people do you know that probably waived their inspection?
If I had to put a percentage on it in terms of buyers we work with in the last 2 years up until like the last few months, I'd say probably at least maybe about 50% of my buyers had to waive their inspection.
So going from 50% to now nobody's doing it. Another part of the real estate process too that a lot of people were doing when it came to inspections, they were taking the homes as is, which means that even if there was something on the inspection report, so they would still have their inspection, and even if there was something on the inspection report, if it wasn't health or safety related, you weren't asking for credits back for it after the inspection. You were taking, as it says, you're taking the home as is. Mm-hmm. So now that less people are doing both of those things, and I would say almost all my buyers over the last 2 years took it as is. Like, I can think of maybe 1 or 2 instances where they didn't. So now as we're going back into, like I said, a cooling down or a correcting market, we are seeing people have the inspections and then be able to ask for credits if things are wrong, or just some things, whether it be cosmetic or some bigger ticket items. We're having people be able to ask for credits or get those repaired. Yeah. So I would say during the inspection, some things to look at, some things that I normally see. We'll see little stuff like electric issues, like maybe all the plugs in a home won't work, which that's not a huge deal, but we can have them either fix that by having a qualified electrician come out, or we can ask for a credit to get that done on the back end. So I will say that's one of the things that I see the most. And then we also have like some, I'll say, like we see like maybe like foundation cracks or stuff in older homes, and those are things that people, it sounds scary, but it's something that us as a real estate professional will walk you through, and we'll really go through. We have a great relationship with our inspectors. We'll go through that with them to see what it's going to take to get that either corrected if it needs to be corrected, and get you the right credit or professional to come out and handle that.
Yeah. So yeah, and with, like Kayla said, with regard to the foundation, so when you're in a market like the Chicagoland area where we experience all 4 seasons over the course of a year, and then depending on, in some weeks we experience all 4 seasons in the same week. Concrete, you're gonna have it. It's gonna expand and contract with extreme cold, extreme heat. So one of the things that we pride ourselves on is having resources for our clients. So, for example, our waterproofing vendors say, it's not a matter if you're going to get maybe small cracks or things in your concrete. It's not a matter if it's going to happen. It's a matter of when. And now, one of the things that we know based off our experience, that the types of cracks that you really want to pay significant attention to are the ones that are horizontal, not so much vertical, because the horizontal ones could be evidence of maybe future structural issues. So it's the things that like that where, like Kayla said, we lean on our inspectors to help educate us as well as our clients, and then we can go the extra mile to make sure that, hey, do we need to bring in another professional? On the as-is topic, a lot of buyers, first-time buyers, think that, if I'm agreeing to take a home as is, which, by the way, foreclosures, short sales, those also typically fall under the as-is category. A lot of buyers feel like, does that mean I'm stuck with the home, or do I have to waive my inspection? No, we highly recommend you still get an inspection even if you're purchasing a home as is, because you want to that's part of your due diligence as a buyer, and it gives you the opportunity, if something is uncovered that's serious, like Kayla was saying, you typically want to look for defects, things that are not working the way that they should be, regardless of what the time frame of the item is. Then you have the ability, even if you're purchasing as is, to nullify the contract if you find anything that concerns you after the inspection process. Anything else that you want to add?
Yeah, so I'll just say, especially I work with a lot of first-time home buyers. When an inspector is going through and doing the inspection, they are going to check, or a good inspector, the inspectors we work with are going to check everything. So they're running all the appliances, they're testing everything, they're going to look for all that, and they are telling you about every single thing in their report. So something that trips a lot of first-time buyers up is looking at that report and seeing all of the defects or anything that the inspector may have pointed out. Like sometimes they will say like things like, I just had one where one of the switches, electrical switches, just didn't turn anything on. They couldn't find out what it went to, and my buyer was freaking out. She thought that was she's like, that's weird, that means something's wrong with the home. And then so we into that and talking to her from my perspective about how that's perfectly normal, and just leveling out expectations and saying that he did not mention that on the report because that means that the house is going to collapse or something's going to fall apart. But he's just telling you about everything so that and so that you're educated, and so that he's doing his due diligence. That's why you get it, that's why you pay for it. So going through and working with a professional who is going to walk you through the report and let you know what is really going to impact your pockets and the home as you live there, and what are just ticket items that you should be aware of, or maybe think that you can fix down the road that's not going to impact how you live in the home or have a big impact on your wallet when you have to fix it.
Yeah. So one of the things we do during our buyer's consultation, where we sit down with our buyers up front and just kind of really vision cast what the buying process is going to look like from A to Z. We talk about the inspection process, and we provide our buyers with a document that talks about, hey, here's what you can and shouldn't expect from your inspector. So for example, the inspector's job is not to tell you whether or not you should buy a home. Their job is to just go through, test everything, as Kayla mentioned, from the roof to the foundation, and then give you an assessment, a very transparent assessment of it. And then from there, along with your agent, can get together and make an educated decision on whether that's a property you should move forward with or not.
Yep.
So with that, we're going to wrap up. But before we do, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. And Please feel free to comment, give us your feedback. We'd love to hear from you. Whether you have any wines that you would like for us to review going forward, you have any questions regarding real estate, or if you would like any of our inspection documentation that we provide our buyers with, feel free to message us. We'd be more than happy to provide that to you.
Absolutely. So how do we end?
All right. So until next time, remember that life is a gift from God.
Style is how you live it.
Cheers.